host, Diana Bruin, an expert in PKD, nutrition, and all things kidney health. If you believe there is more you can do with nutrition to slow the progression of PKD, but you aren't sure why or how, the PKD Dietitian podcast is just for you. We'll look at the science and research around PKD. I'll break it down in ways that are easy to understand. And of course, we'll dig into all things nutrition and PKD. I'll answer your questions and those that I frequently get from clients and medical professionals. Along the way, you'll meet researchers and PKD warriors, highlighting the power of advocacy, awareness, and community. Let's get started. Today, I'm going to do something a little different and share a little bit behind the scenes, something I have been personally working on. Over the past several years, I have struggled with chronic daily pain. Pain that is unseen to those around me, but I still live with it and through it daily. Like many of you who experience PKD-related pain, some days are better than others. These past several months of the year, however, have been a doozy for me. And during the late summer months, I started to feel an uptick in fatigue because that's one of chronic pain's sidekicks. I also felt a sense of being unbalanced and the feeling like I had limited bandwidth for much outside of my PKD dietitianing. My body and life were telling me, in fact, they were yelling at me, that it was time to slow down and check in. Did I do that? Not exactly. I kept pushing it off so I could push forward. It seemed like everything else in life and work needed my attention more. And believe me, ignoring pain and being off balance do not make them go away. So last month, I tapped the brakes and did a 30-day check-in. A check-in to connect with things that I was possibly ignoring or was or wasn't doing to support and take care of myself both mentally and physically. At the end of each day, I asked myself 3 questions and wrote down my unfiltered responses. I want to share this simple check-in with you and invite you to try your own 30-day 3-question check-in. Stick with me. Even if you think this sounds woo-woo, and yes, that's an official scientific term, it's simple, eye-opening, and changed how I now approach my day-to-day, all for the better. I have started introducing this 30-day check-in to my clients and fellow dietitians and inviting them to try it because it really is applicable to and great for so many life moments and seasons. It can be a check-in, a reboot when you're feeling off kilter, a passion navigator, and it is perfect for anyone who is working on dietary or lifestyle changes. It's also perfect for, and I recommend you just fill in this blank here because it pretty much applies to any change or challenge. The 3-question 30-day challenge is not my own creation. It was developed by Alex Banayan, who has, in his own words, been studying the mindset of success for over 10 years. Using the insights he has learned from interviewing great leaders and minds, Alex creates tools to help others discover or rediscover what lights them up and will help them move towards success. Now, here, success, and I have it in parentheses, can be defined differently with anything you are working on. His homepage is linked out in the show notes if you want to check it out. Moving forward, I'm going to call his 30-day challenge a 30-day check-in because that felt truer to me in what I was doing and also how I see it potentially helping and working for you. The 3 questions and the rules, again, that's in parentheses, for the 30-day check-in are quite easy. If you are able, grab a pen and paper and you can jot them down. Otherwise, I have linked out the questions from Alex in the show notes also. First, you need a notebook, a journal, or any way of keeping your questions and answers in one organized place. A fellow dietitian of mine used this as a great excuse to splurge on a new journal. Totally love it. At the end of each day, ask yourself the 3 following questions and write out your answer. Don't edit it, don't bullet it, and oh man, I really wanted to bullet it, and don't erase, just write. Here are your questions. Number 1. What filled me with enthusiasm today? Number 2, what drained me of energy today? And number 3, What did I learn about myself today? If you miss a day, you have to start over. And oh boy, this happened to me once. And you can bet after that, I placed my notebook on top of my pillow as a visual reminder so it never happened again. That's it, guys. It's incredibly simple and doable. And if you struggle with only coming up with one-word answers, I found that adding a because after I wrote something down helped me to elaborate a bit more on my response. At the end of your 30 days, go back and look at what you wrote. Believe me when I say you will see clear patterns and have aha moments that await you as to what has been bringing you enthusiasm and what has been sucking you of energy and what the check-in has shown you. So now I want to share a little bit about what I discovered with my 30-day check-in. It turns out for me that there are very particular things that have been draining me of my energy way more than I gave them credit for. Things like chaos, clutter, and crunch time work. It was these realizations that pointed me towards what I needed to address or change that was actually really easy and would have a big impact. For example, having clutter and chaos in my office and schedule was a big energy suck. Sounds obvious, right? It wasn't to me. Not only was I able to identify that pattern because I saw it every day in my journal, I put in simple practices to ensure my environment supported me. This turned into what I call shutdown practices. It takes about 10 minutes each day, but I clean up my office and I set it for the next day. It is not only much nicer to start my day like this, but my mental space has been freed from thinking about what I need to do next. Looking back on my 30 days, it was pain that was the biggest zapper of energy for me. Not a huge surprise. I was able to see my patterns and identify what made it worse. So this next season in my life, I will be focusing more on physical therapy, better sleep habits, and more intentional movement. Seeing pain written as a response to that second question almost every single day really highlighted how much I needed to shift to prioritizing self-care and do the work. Can you relate to this? I'm guessing a lot of you are probably nodding your head. However, that wasn't the biggest revelation. The biggest revelation and surprise for me were the micro shifts in joy and gratitude I experienced. Asking myself daily what brought me enthusiasm really brought me back into the moment. Acknowledging joy in the small moments of life, in those little successes, or even struggles that I had previously passed over. Towards the end of my 30-day 3-question check-in, instead of waiting until it was time to grab my notebook off my pillow and writing out my responses, I found myself pausing and appreciating the positives in the moments that they happened. And this micro shift is everything. Celebrating success in those moments, both for myself and for my clients. Finding joy in the moment. Also living with gratitude. And last but not least was just really being present, not having to reach back and try to think of what brought me enthusiasm. So enough about me. Let's get into why I think you should try the 30-day check-in. Many clients tell me that living with PKD has a high health tax toll. It's always there with mental, emotional, and often physical reminders. They have seen family members struggle with PKD, something I call post-traumatic PKD. Lots of them feel stuck in the disease part of PKD and not in the health part. This for sure can drain you of your energy and take over all aspects of life. What do? We work to focus on health, their health, the modifiable parts of PKD, and what is within their control to alter and change. Of course, diet is a big part of our work. Change is hard, and diet and lifestyle changes seem to be especially hard for most of us. It is too easy to get caught up in the work and gloss over successes, joy, and even where we need to pivot because something isn't working. Mindset work is included in all the work I do with my clients and within the PKD community because it's that important. Now I would like to invite you to try out the 30-day check-in. Use it for however you feel it would benefit you at this moment. If you need to refocus, to retouch your joy, to not get lost in the disease part of PKD, to support looking at the health, or even to stay present when you're making proactive nutrition choices. And if you do the 30-day check-in, I want you to do two things. First, share it with me on Instagram. Either share it with me in a DM at _PKD_dietitian. That handle's also linked out. Or in this episode's post. Let me know what you discover. And second, share this episode with someone else who you think would benefit.